Hi, Gareth. Lauren Hemp had a great international break. How close is she to potentially starting against Arsenal?
Oh, of course, really close. I think that was the case for Leicester as well. We just had to work out she had a shoulder situation, which was probably on the back of the Chelsea game where she cartwheeled. So yeah, she's absolutely fine. She was available. We got her back into the game at Leicester, and then obviously she's played a bit on international duty as well. So back into the frame for the weekend.
And that Leicester game, Khiara Keating had a really strong performance, 2 really good saves as well. Went away with England too. How impressed have you been with her so far, and how much better can she be?
Yeah, she's shown really positive things so far, and we're working with a young player who's at times is going to make mistakes. There's no doubt about that. Each player makes mistakes, and sometimes it's more highlighted when the goalkeepers do it. But she's been really strong for us in the performances that we've had. I think she's been helped by the players in front of her as well, and also the players behind her in Sandy and Ellie. I think they've really helped her as well. So I think she's in a good place. We see lots of potential in her as well. So yeah, excited about what the future holds for her.
And the big games now are coming up thick and fast. Arsenal, how do you assess them? Because they've not
every game's a big game. There are no small games in this league. There are not. Everyone's a big one.
And finally, and I'm aware I'm asking about the Ballon d'Or as a male journalist, asking a male football manager, but the setup there, the timing of the event being in the women's international break, who presented the trophies. Do you feel like if women's football was given the respect it maybe kind of deserves in the way that all kind of was played out?
Well, everything points to it being the opposite of that. So, I mean, look, I didn't watch all of the ceremony, so I can't comment on who presented, but I think there was certainly a little bit of noise around availability for female players to attend. I think it's always a really busy calendar in the game, not just the men's game, the women's game. The game is a really hefty calendar at the moment, so it's picking the right time to do that. But of course, it needs to be factored in that these players have worked so hard, and they work as hard as the male players to get these accolades, to get these nominations. And I think to have the opportunity to be able to attend is really important. And if that's been taken away, then it's something that they certainly need to look at improving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll go remotely now on Zoom. So let's start with Joe.
Hi, Gareth. Hope you're well. I was just wondering if you had any updates on Alex Greenwood's recovery. Yeah,
we have updates. We've had good conversation with Alex. She's been back in the environment today with us. I think it was a nasty blow first and foremost, and there was a lot of concern regarding Alex at that time and at that moment. So we've gone through, and England did previously, to us to go through all of the necessary protocols that come with these types of head injuries. So of course she won't be available for the weekend, and we'll make sure that her return to playing time frame is managed in the right way, so that we're outside of everything else that's going on. The one thing that's paramount is Alex's health and her welfare, so we'll just make sure that that's looked after in the right manner. But I spoke to her yesterday, exchanged text messages on the evening of obviously when she did it, and yeah, of course, I think it was a bit of a scary moment for her, and it was an uncomfortable moment for her. But yeah, she's a very brave player, Alex. She's very determined. She's so brave in everything she does and the way she plays. And of course, she's frustrated because it means that she'll miss the weekend. But she's pretty excited about what we've done this season so far and how we're looking. And she's played a big part in that as well, there's no doubt. But of course, her welfare is the most important thing, and we'll make sure we get that right as a club. And we've had good communication with England. The handover was really good. So she's now back in our care.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to hear she's recovering well. I guess then at this stage it's too early to put a return date on things then.
Yeah, of course. I think she's due to see a specialist next week. So we'll know more when the experts have assessed her.
Thanks. One last question from me. You talked to Sani about Khiara Keating. I just wanted to mention Ellie Roebuck. How's she taking everything? Obviously, she started so many games last year for you. You can't have 2 goalkeepers. She's now on the bench. How are you kind of juggling having 2 very good young English goalkeepers in your camp?
Yeah, well, there's 3, of course. I know they're not all English. Or, Sandy now has made a debut for Scotland, which was a really proud moment for her as well. So, yeah, of course, to have 3 goalkeepers away on international duty has been fantastic for us. Of course, Ellie is not in the starting 11 at the moment, but she's really well thought of by ourselves. Nothing changes. We've been really open and honest with the goalkeepers at the beginning of the season in terms of what we need to do and what we need to achieve and what we need the goalkeepers to be able to do in that process. So at the moment it's Khiara, and of course Ellie's working tremendously hard, like Sandy is, to try and force their way in.
Thanks so much, mate, and best of luck for the weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. We'll go to Tom Gary next.
Hi, Gareth. Nice to see you. Just to follow on from Joe's question there, how's Ellie been taking that? Are you noticing a more determined Ellie, or like a really fired up Ellie in training? How's she responded to being out the side?
She's responded really well, really professionally. Is training well, is supporting Khiara and Sandy really well. I think, and she would have had to do the same, obviously, when she was away with England. I'm sure she supported Mary and all the other goalkeepers really well. So, yeah, no change in that space. And of course, she's really well thought of here. We've got real good history with Ellie and me in particular. So, nothing changes in my view. Of course, we're here to be successful and win games. And at the moment, Khiara is helping us in that space. And normally during a season, things change for one reason or another. So all Ellie can do is continue in the way she has been, is being positive, being professional and training really well.
Thanks, Gareth. Could I also ask one more question? I guess a two-part question about Alex Greenwood. Firstly, how much of a blow is that to miss her for this game? Such an important player. And also, I guess, on the flip side, are you quite relieved that it isn't more serious? Because when she was leaving on the stretchers with her body strapped to the stretcher to keep her still, it looked like it could have been a lot worse. But I guess it's good to see her up and about.
Yeah, of course. I think it's always a concern when you see a player down in distress like that. And obviously, the medics are taking their time. I think it was quite an extended period of time, maybe 15 minutes on pitch. And of course, yeah, no one wants to see that. I think it's understanding and managing that for Alex, that she's supported in the right way. But like I said previously, I spoke to her yesterday and she's very keen to get back into it as soon as she possibly can. Probably knowing Alex will be ahead of probably what she should do, but we'll make sure that we manage that in the right way. And of course, losing a player like Alex there's no doubt. I think it rocked England the other night. You could see that their performance as soon as she went off the pitch deteriorated from where it was. So yeah, of course, she's a big player for us. But I've said previously, the strength in us this season is the squad that we have. We have capable players that are knocking on the door continuously every day, and nothing changes with that. It's a tight turnaround from international break in terms of our training opportunities, but we're ready. We're looking forward to the challenge.
Thanks, Gareth, and good luck. See you Sunday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. We'll go to Catherine next.
Gareth, Arsenal are playing, I think, 5 league games at the Emirates this season. You would maybe, given this being like a clash of 2 top teams, you would have thought they might have picked Arsenal Manchester City as one of those games. They didn't pick it last season, and Chelsea, I think, are also playing 5 games at Stamford Bridge and haven't picked your game as one of the games to play there. I just wondered whether you thought that was maybe a little bit targeted, in that potentially they know your side like to play football, and perhaps playing on a slightly nicer pitch at the Emirates rather than playing at Meadow Park would give you an advantage, and maybe they'd rather play you on I'm sure the surface at Boreham Wood is fine, but perhaps not quite the carpet of the Emirates.
I think you've answered that yourself. Yeah, I don't know. Of course, I think I'm of the understanding this is their first game there this season, so I think that's great for us. I think that's a real positive. It is a good surface there at Boreham Wood. Of course, games at the major stadiums are great as well. We played more recently at the King Power, which was great. We have one to look forward to in Old Trafford coming up in a few weeks. So, yeah, it is what it is. I think, you'd have to ask them what the reason is. But, of course, I think we need to really try and exploit that at the weekend, that they're not familiar with it yet this season.
Then I was just going to say, obviously, this kind of affects both clubs, but obviously Australian players, and the Asian international window was slightly different to the European one, in that there was games on Wednesday night, and that turnaround is really difficult. And it's, as I say, it's something both clubs are going to struggle with. How difficult is it to manage that? And the likes of sort of Mary Fowler are going to be available to play in time for that match?
Yeah, well, they check in today. Obviously they've just arrived, and it's a tight turnaround. There's no doubt. I think it's a tight turnaround regardless. This, like you say, the Asian timetable was a bit crazy, really, because you've got the players who were the furthest away playing an extra game because they didn't have a camp in the last window. Just doesn't make any logical sense, really. I think I understand these games have to be played. And on this occasion, like you say, both clubs are probably suffering from that a little bit with the Matildas who are involved. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but we'll deal with it. We go into a 3-game week, which is great. We have, like I said previously, good numbers, good availability. Demi's coming back into the fold as well now. So, outside of Alex, the squad is good. The squad looks healthy. And we just wait and check in with those girls who already. I've just seen them in the gym space when they've arrived, so they seem in good spirits. Obviously we'll be a little bit tired, there's no doubt about that, but I think it's something they're more used to now, those girls, the travel that's involved. More often than not they travel in nice luxury, which is good, which is something that's improved, which is important to help them and aid their recovery. So excited to see them back and get the group back together again.